Talking CRM with Jeff and David, getting the best value for the whole organization from your integrated CRM and accounting systems. David Beard, CRM Principal, and Jeff Richards, Head of Training Program Development for Sage CRM, spend time chatting with customers, resellers, and others about Sage CRM in action around the globe.
In this episode, Ken explains how his latest product, S5 Maps, is much more than just another mapping tool. We asked Ken what he'd like to see in future releases, while Jeff outlined some ideas we're considering for those future releases as well. Now, you have a nice page on the website that talks about the S5 Maps capability. Talk to us both about, well, where that came from, but also what the offer is for you, your customers, and other partners.
So S5 Maps, something that I developed a solution for a customer about 3.5 to 4 years ago. It was really, they just wanted to sort of plot out where their customer base was, have a look at prospects, have a look at a bit of sales statistics. So, show me all the customers that have this criteria or that criteria. So we didn't use Google at the time. We used an open source product. And it worked awesome for them. They loved the product. And as I started thinking about, well, how do I start drawing more information back in, and where does that information reside? Well, the first place I go to find really anything is to Google. I go to Google and I type into the search engine and it brings back information. And most of the time it's valid within the first 3 or 4 links. When I started going down the path of where can we draw information from that is valid, and there's a lot of it, Google is where I went. So I looked at their mapping solution, and there were some limitations about using Google and using their APIs. They want creds for absolutely every click, and they want to set some limits on how much information you can keep. Going through the terms of agreement, going through all of that information, I was able to build a solution that's totally compliant with their terms of agreement. Which what it does is it allows you to, one, obviously take address information from all of your contacts, whether it's companies or leads or wherever in Sage CRM, and allows you to, one, visualize that, allows you to see that on a map. It then allows you to slice and dice, so it allows you to specify within a filter what kind of information you want to see. So if you're looking for prospects, if you're looking for sales information, if you're looking for whatever, it allows you to do that. The big one for me is the search engine built right within the product. So it allows you to, within a specific area. So if you're in Chicago and you're looking up pharmaceutical companies, you type in pharmaceutical, and it shows you within the area that you are, all the pharmaceutical companies, pharmacies or whatever within that area. And at a click of a button, you're allowed to push those into Sage CRM as either prospects or leads, and then manage that information after the fact.
So what you're doing there is you're harking back to your theme on integration. You're pulling in both external and using internal, the mapping of where your current customers are, to give you a blended view of the world, right?
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah, and all that information then is within your Sage CRM, and you can have your team then access that information and do with it as you please. It allows you to do, there's an add-on to it that is routing. So, if you've got a Salesforce that are out there trying to get from A to B, fluid distribution as an example, or whatever, you can use the routing module, although more and more people are staying home, which then allows them to then use the Google search engine to find their opportunities, find whatever information they're looking for, and map accordingly.
So I think we should dwell on that for a second or two. I'm going to make you dwell on that for a second or two, because it's not just a simple routing application, which are a dime a dozen. There's plenty of them. It's a prospecting tool. It's an enrichment tool. You can add information to records. You can create records, obviously. It's quite a lot of things, isn't it?
Yes, the routing side of it is just an add-on after the fact. The tool itself was more of everybody's looking for specific information. Everybody's looking for different information. All my customers that use the product, some are looking for pharmaceuticals, some are looking for manufacturing, some are looking for whatever. Right. And what it allows you to do, and the nice part is you can zoom into a specific area. And if you see something that you want, you click on it and you just say add to Sage CRM, and it adds it as either a lead or a prospect. Mm-hmm. So it'll do it at a mass scale, but it'll also do it at an individual scale. And it visualizes everything, right? So if you're balancing your Salesforce as an example, you take a look and say, okay, well, show me all of Sue's opportunities or show me all of Sue's clients, and it will cluster all that together so you can have a visual of what your client base looks like.
So I know you're listed on our marketplace, and indeed people can go to s5CRM.ca to look at some screenshots.
Yeah.
Will you be providing over time more examples of it actually in use? Because I think it's a really powerful tool, and I think at the moment, this is constructive criticism, Ken. I just worry people might think it's yet another mapping tool, and it's not. It's not just another mapping tool.
There are videos out there of the use of the product. If there's a request for demos or whatever, the distributors can do that. The Sage partners can do that, and I have a demo environment as well. So
good.
What's prompted the move, Ken, from taking it from something you did for a few customers into productizing it, if that's a word? Why the change?
I think the big one for me going from open source to Google was the accuracy of data. What I found with some of the open source stuff is that, okay, well, that address or that company is not there. That company is probably 7 or 8 blocks from where you are. And if it's a delivery company, there's, that's not okay. If you're sitting at your desk and you're trying to sort of see statistically where is my population of this, that, or the other thing, a few blocks is nothing. When I looked at it and I had a number of customers and more were interested in this tool, and everyone had just a different way of looking at what it should do. And a lot of people were searching the web and then coming back to the tool to see if if that was an existing customer, and really going between multi-screens to do what they needed to do. So when I brought the searchability within the tool, from all of Google's data into the S5 mapping solution, that's when I sort of thought to myself, well, that's what everyone was looking for. There's got to be more people out there that are going to be looking for this as well.
So that's interesting. That's given me a different insight. So the OpenStreetMap was good to a point, but the quality of the data and possible limitations to the data meant that Google Maps was a better choice.
Well, OpenStreetMaps didn't give you all of the other things that Google has information on. Google has information about my business, your business, everyone's business, right? So they have a lot of information that is really at your fingertips if you can get to it. So within the tool, you do a search and it brings back what's relevant to your search.
Understood. Makes sense. Jeff, is there anything else that you wanted to bring out? Did you want to ask?
No, well, let's see. We've run through, we've talked about technology, we've talked about trends. I've got a good question. Ken, with your experience, acres of experience since 2005, what is the one thing that you want to happen in the product in the next 2 years?
I think you're making a lot easier on the installation and integration side of things. You're making it a lot easier on the virtualization side of things. Like the application is completely solid, and it's a great tool. It's a great platform. It's a great environment. The Sage CRM platform is where it needs to be. It needs to be it needs to be ease of use, which it is. The APIs allow you to integrate to everything. The mobile thing, it's there. It's not. I would say it's not 100% there, but it's so much better than in every iteration. It gets better and better. So I think you're on the Sage is on the right track with reference to the development side and promoting all of the things that people are using, all of that remote functionality, the remote ability.
So he doesn't want anything, Jeff. He's completely happy.
No, yeah, well, it sounds like it's.
Yeah, but it's interesting because if I need something within the product that it doesn't do because of all the client side API stuff, I can build it with like jQuery. I'm sorry, but that's my favorite, and I know there's better tools out there now. I can do so much with the DOM objects that are sitting on the screen. I can do almost anything. Access back to the data. I can do anything. So when Jeff said to me, what should Sage do? I don't know, just keep doing what you're doing, because if it's not there, then I'll just add it in.
I'm going to share with you something that is coming in 2021 R2, Ken. Because you probably recognize in 2021 R1 we saw a 30% extension of the amount of endpoints that we had within our REST APIs, the ability to interrogate the endpoints to be able to get the metadata from the individual screens and lists. We're basically being able to get the information if you want to be able to create your own portlet type applications, thing that could sit with inside a sys application running on the desktop, or pop out in the extent of a browser app. One thing that we've got is coming in, which I think you'll like, is the ability to override the cascading style sheet. The idea that you can now drop in, just as much as you can drop in custom scripts into the client-side API, where you can override the inbuilt behavior of Sage CRM, you can now drop in, or we will be able to drop in, and override the default cascading style sheet appearance of Sage CRM as well. And the crowd goes wild.
Oh.
Dear listener, you can't actually see Ken raising his hand.
That's exciting.
It looks like I've managed to shoot and score at the same time.
For the people that are in the environment all day, that are working in that is completely awesome.
And on that bombshell, as people often say, I think we should draw this to a close. Thank you, Ken, for taking part in the podcast. And thank you, Jeff, as ever, for coming along.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.
You've been listening to Talking CRM with Jeff and David, getting the best for the whole organization from your integrated CRM and accounting systems.